Okay, this is Jack the exam guy again, coming at you talking about plans. We're going to talk about the elevator pit specifically. They love to ask questions about the elevator pit. So, we're going to get familiar with the elevator pit and the types of calculations that you may be required to do. So, you're going to want to make sure that you find that sheet 2 of your plans. Hopefully, you have a hard copy where, because sometimes it's a little hard to read on the screen. So, hopefully, you've got, like I said, hopefully, you've got one that might make it a little easier. You might need a magnifying glass. This is kind of a, these numbers are a little, they're not the easiest to read in the world. Okay. And the first, like I said earlier, the first time I saw these plans, I thought, these are cheesy plans. I'm really not getting my money's worth here. But then I got to the exam and I realized, oh, I see. These are exactly like they are on the exam itself. So anyway, so we're looking at the elevator pit and we see there's some dimensions here. It is 8.4, this interior dimension. Let's see, let's get me a highlighter here, not a highlighter, but a little pointer. 8'4" inside by 9'4" inside. And then you have some 8-inch concrete walls. All right, and you've got this little ledge here. We don't really worry about that ledge too much. It's a tiny little bit. And then there's this little L bracket, this little L. I think it says 4 by 4 by 3/8. That appears to be a metal L bracket, angle bracket, I guess would be better terminology. Okay, so we're 4 feet tall. Okay, our floor is 8-inch thick. Our floor and our walls are 8-inch thick. All right, now. And then if you want to see, this is how this works. See this I over 2? I'm going to call it I because I believe the top letter is the top is alphabetical and the bottom is numerical. So you see an A2 here. Whether it is or whether it's not, it doesn't really matter because you come over here and you see the same thing. So that's what they're talking about here. When you see a detail, all right, it's kind of an important thing if you don't know this, you relate here to here. So this, you got a line coming through, so that shows us that that's a cross section. This is a cross section of this elevator pit where it is right here, right now. And they kind of give you some kind of a valuable information, or you can figure this out anyway. But the center line here, and I know it's hard to see exactly where those lines go, but this is 9 feet by 10 feet. All right. And it almost looks like it's a square, but it actually is not a square, and that's important. I have a lot of students that when I'm talking about, face to face talking with them about this elevator pit, I get the idea, and rightly so, that they don't quite conceptualize exactly what they're looking at. They're looking at a rectangular bowl. And I was trying to figure out how to explain this to people. And I said, I've got something around here that is like a rectangular bowl. And how many of these do you have laying around your house from Amazon? Probably a bunch if you're like me. I just started loving Amazon. Okay, so this is what your elevator pit looks like. There's 4 walls. Okay, these are the 8'4" inside to inside here. These are your 9'4" inside to inside here. And then the walls, even though these don't look like it, they're 8 inches thick. All right, so I wanted you to, a lot of people, and myself included, have never actually seen an elevator pit. You may have thought that maybe this one side was open so that people could get in and out of the elevator, but this is actually below where the elevator opens. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that you understood that. All right, so so here we are. I want to point out something to you called the key. And I never really noticed this until one time I was taking an exam. All right. And it says, how many linear feet of key are there? Well, what is the key? Well, you've got a little line there. So kind of like a little squiggly line. It's almost like a tongue and groove kind of operation there. So the only thing I can figure is you could pour these, you could pour the floor separately than the walls, and then the key will act like a tongue and groove kind of operation. So just trying to give you, I want you to conceptualize what you're talking about here. So the key, if we want to know how many linear feet of key there is, we're going to want to measure along the center, okay, along the center of that wall. Remember, it's the wall that goes boom, 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 okay, all four sides around that elevator pit. And if we hit the center of that wall, we should hit the length of the key. And it could be just a standalone question like that. How many linear feet of key are? And that's great. But what we're going to find out later is that you can use that number as your first step towards something else very important that you may have to do as well. So if you feel like you're a hot shot and you want to go ahead and figure that out, how many linear feet of key there are, just go ahead and hit the pause button and figure that out. And you'll come back and we'll take a look and see if you're right. And if not, just continue listening and we'll show you how it's worked out. Okay. What is the linear feet of key? All right. So here we go. Right there. So we've got, remember, 8'4" inside to inside. We got to add 4 inches on this side and 4 inches on this side. So it's 8'4" plus 8 inches, or plus 4 inches twice, either way you want to look at it. And 9'4" inside to inside on the other two walls. So you're going to have two walls at 8'4" plus 8 inches. You're going to have two walls at 9'4" plus 8 inches. Okay, so here's what it's going to look like. 8'4" plus 4 plus 4 is 9 feet times 2. You have 18 feet of wall on the short side. 9'4" plus 4 plus 4 inches equals 10 feet times 2. You have 20 feet. Add them together and you get 38 feet of key. Not so bad. And then even when you look at that, the elevator pit itself on the foundation plan, it tells you it's 9 foot by 10 foot, and then it's at the center line. But you can figure it out by looking at the detail as well. So that's the first calculation on the elevator pit that you really need to know how to do, because like I said, we're going to build on that now. So now we're going to ask how many cubic yards of concrete is needed for the walls. Okay, we're not going to do the floor right now. Okay, we're just going to do the walls of the elevator pit. How many cubic feet? And don't worry about the key and how that, it's shaped a little bit differently, so you might have to make an adjustment. You don't have to do that. And even that little ledge that's right there on the right hand side of your detail, that 2-inch by 4-inch ledge, let's not worry about that right now. Okay, that's a very, very small amount. Okay, so we're going to do cubic yards of concrete is needed for the walls only. And what I want you to think about is I want you to think about that key, okay, because when you're figuring out concrete, when you're figuring out a lot of volumes of different stuff, it's kind of good to conceptualize the center line, because if you do the inside, you're going to be short. If you do the outside, you're going to be long. If you do the center line, you're going to get a really good idea of exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so what I want you to think about, I want you to think about this wall, okay, this wall around the elevator pit being one continuous wall. Okay, one continuous wall. Well, how long is that one continuous wall? Well, you should know that because you figured out how many linear feet of key that was. That should be the length, right? So what you're going to want to do is, if you're a hot shot, just go ahead and hit that pause button and see if you can figure it out. And come on back and see if you got it right. And if you're totally in the woods, if your eyes are glazing over, that's okay too, because this is not easy stuff. Hey, that's why you're here, right? If it was easy, anybody could do it and you'd be able to take the exam and go on. It's not that easy for most people. All right, so we're going to go on to do the explanation again. Okay, so how many cubic yards of concrete is needed for the walls only of the elevator pit? So we have the 38. All right, we have the 38. That's how long our wall is. It's 38 feet. How tall is our wall? Well, it's 4 feet. Okay, length times height times thickness. It is 8 inches. 8 divided by 12 is 0.6666. We round it up to 0.67. We get 101.84 cubic feet. And we have to realize that to convert cubic feet to cubic yards is 3.77. There are 27 cubic feet in a cubic yard, so it is 3.77 cubic yards for the walls. All right, not so bad. Okay, and let's go on. Now, what about that ledge? All right, first of all, I don't want you worrying about that ledge right away. That ledge is very, very small. Now, I'm talking about that 2 inches by 4 inches by 9 foot floor. Okay, you're talking about a tiny bit. Now, when you get your answer and you compare it to the possible choices, it's going to be, that amount is not going to matter. Okay, but let's say just by some crazy stretch of the imagination, you've got 2 answers that are extremely close, and you figure out, you know what, I want to be safe and I want to figure out what the ledge is. Well, let's do that. Okay, once again, it's right here. It's 4 inches wide, and besides, this is also kind of a good practice, just math. Okay, so you got 4 inches wide, 2 inches tall, and the way I see this is running along the long side. Okay, it's running along the long side of the elevator. So it's not the 8 foot 4 side, it's the 9 foot 4 side. And it's the inside because this ledge should not continue on to, the abutting walls on each side. It's just going to be on the inside, right? Okay. Hopefully you're following what I'm talking about. If not, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. 4 inches by 2 inches by 9 foot 4. Okay, so here we go. 9 foot 4 times 2 inches times 4 inches, 9.33 times 1.7. How do we get 1.7? Well, no matter what your number in inches is, if you divide it by 12, you get feet, right? So 96 inches by 12 divided by 12 equals 8 feet. Okay, 2 inches divided by 12 equals feet. Well, it just happens to be 0.17 feet. Okay, because remember, whenever you're doing any type of volume, you have to be multiplying in the same units. Okay, so it's 9.33 feet times 1.7 feet times 0.33 feet, which is 4 inches, and then we get 0.52 cubic feet. That's only a half of a cubic foot. We're not even talking about cubic yards yet. We divide by 27 and we get 0.02 cubic yards. So like I said, it's such an infinitesimal small amount that it's just not going to really make a difference in your answer. More than likely. You never know on these exams though. I've been surprised before. But that was a good little exercise anyway. Okay, so now that we've done the walls, let's do the floor. All right, because usually what the question is on the exam is the walls and the floor together. Now I broke them up here just for the purposes of clarity, but when you do the exam, you'll probably have to do them both together. But we're going to do the floor now. Okay, so let's take a look at this. If you're a hot shot, just go ahead and pause the recording and see if you can figure it out, or maybe you're getting used to it. Maybe you're not such a hot shot, but hey, you got a little confidence now. Yeah, man, let's go ahead and figure this thing out. All right, so what we do is we go ahead and hit the pause button if you like and see if you can figure it out. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit of this to you. Okay, so all you have to really be aware of, and sometimes people aren't 100% on this is, remember, this is an outside to outside measurement. This is not a center to center measurement. Okay, so what you have to, if you did center to center, you'd be missing 4 inches on each side. So you've got to do the 8-4 side has to be plus 8 inches plus 8 inches. It's going to be 16 inches added to each one of these dimensions. Okay, and then you've got the thickness as well, and you have the conversion. So how many cubic yards of concrete is needed for the floor of the elevator pit? Well, you've got 8-4 plus 8 plus 8, so that's 9 foot 8 or 9.67. You have 9-4 plus 8 plus 8 equals 10.8. So the other dimension is 10.8 or 10.67. We take our 9.67 times our 10.67 and times up 0.67. That's our 8-inch thick walls, or floor actually. And we get 69.13 cubic feet. 69.13 cubic feet divided by 27 equals 2.56 cubic yards. And in the actual exam, you might have to add the number you got for the walls and the number you got for the floor together to get your total concrete. And you may have a little waste factor. 10% waste, add 10%. That's easy. Okay, very good. Very good. All right, so we're going to go to one more question about the elevator pit. Now, you might be told that you're going to have to do some waterproofing on this elevator pit. Okay, and you have to understand that this is slightly different as well, because they may not tell you that the interior. I'm telling you now that it's the interior of the elevator pit. If you get this question and they do not say interior, you have to assume, you have to infer that it is the interior walls and floor of the elevator pit. All right, we may be told something like this: a gallon covers 40 square feet per coat. And then we may be told that that 2 coats are required, something along those lines. Okay, so we will, if you are a real hot shot, see what you can do. Okay, make a good faith effort at getting the correct answer and hit that pause button and then come on back and we'll do a little explanation. And if you're not too comfortable, just hang tight. We'll talk about it right now. All right, so we're back to these plans. All right, now you have to realize, once again, we're talking about the interior, and we're not going to mess with this ledge. That's going to change that computation ever so slightly, but we're not going to really worry about that ledge. Okay, so we have 8'4" by 9'4". So once again, I want you to think about the walls as one continuous wall. It's going to be 8'4" plus 8'4" plus 9'4" plus 9'4". That's going to give us that entire interior linear feet of wall, right? There you go. 8'4" plus 8'4" plus 9'4" plus 9'4". Then we have to multiply it times our height, all right? And that's going to give us our square feet of wall. And then you have to do the floor. Okay, once again, it's interior, so it's 8'4" by 9'4", and then that's going to give us our square feet of floor, and then we just have to crunch some numbers at that point. Okay, 8'4" plus 8'4" plus 9'4" plus 9'4" equals 35 feet 4 inches, or 35.33 feet. Okay, times 4, which is the height of the walls, so we get for the walls 141.32 square feet. Now, generally what I like to do, and you don't have to do it all the time, is go to 2 decimal points. That just makes sure that you're covering all your bases. All right, and then the floor, 8.33 times 9.33, that's 8'4" times 9'4" equals 77.72. So we have 141.32 for our walls. We have 77.72 for our floors. We add those two together, we get 219.04. Okay, 219.04 square feet. A gallon does 40 square feet. 219.04 divided by 40 equals 5.48 gallons per coat. Remember, when you get this waterproofing question, it will not be 1 coat. And that is, I guarantee you the answer for 1 coat will be a choice. And as it's been said before, you'll feel pretty good about that answer for about 4 hours. until you get your results. But you are being walked through this, so your results are going to be very positive. You're going to pass this first time if this is your first time, or you're going to pass the next time. 5.48 gallons, or 2 coats equals 10.96. Now you and I know in the real world, you're probably going to get better coverage out of that second coat, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to go ahead and multiply whatever it is per coat, 5.48 gallons per coat times 2 coats. So it's going to take 10.96 gallons, and you're going to need 11 gallons. Now, you and I both know in the real world, you're cutting it pretty close right there, and you're not going to want to take another trip to the hardware store for 1 more gallon. So you're probably going to go ahead and buy 12 gallons. But we're not going to worry about that on test day, unless they tell us there's a little bit of waste. There's, 5% waste. Well, yeah, we're definitely going to need 12 gallons then. But 11 gallons on test day, unless something else changes and they tell you something different, it's just going to be 11 gallons. Wow, I know that was a workout. There's going to be some practice questions at the end of all these slides that you're going to want to do, and so you'll see this information again. There's a good chance you'll see it on the exam. So heads up on this elevator. Hopefully that you've got this all made sense to you. I appreciate you so much, your business, and I wish you the best on this exam. This is Jack the Exam Guy signing off.